That looks good. Everything looks good. One more thing I need to check. And we can pretty much start the show. Oh, yeah. Oh, that looks good. It's time. Let's do this. Let's do this. Right. Da 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 da. 3, 2, 1, go. For Tuesday night of December 8th, 2020, you are checking out a special live edition of Impact Showdown. I'm your host, Lee Sanders. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It is a special episode. Don't you love it when I'm able to deliver the goods for you kind people? So, in case you missed it, maybe you're not aware, I do so many shows. You guys probably were not even aware that there was a show called Impact Showdown. It's existed for years, but the show went on hiatus a couple of years ago. I actually brought it back several months ago. So several months ago, I would say this go round, I think we've had it back for about 5, maybe even 6 months, covering Impact Wrestling Fallout. We put it out weekly. It's strictly a on-demand, downloadable podcast. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts. But I wanted to do this live edition, this live webcast / podcast edition of Impact Showdown for a very good reason, because we got graced with the appearance of the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Kenny Omega. Of course, Don Callis was in the house. What were they gonna say tonight? They had everybody hanging off the edges of their seats, just wondering, what's up? What are they gonna reveal? What's going on here? What exactly do they have in store for folks at Impact? I want to know what you guys had thought about Impact Wrestling. I also had posed this question on social media. If you didn't catch it, I would love for you guys to chime in. We're streaming live for the next little bit right now. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. But this ain't the RCWR show tonight, just for the record. Again, this is Impact Showdown. All we talking about is Impact Wrestling. But we definitely gonna do a little bit of love there for AEW Dynamite as well. So the question I had posed on social media was, be honest, other than tonight, when, if ever, was the last time you had checked out Impact Wrestling? And I just want to read some of the comments that's coming in so far. Feel free to chime in. I would love to know, sincerely, I would love to know. No shame in replying, okay? There's no shame. You don't have to feel embarrassed. You could say this was your first time. You could say, I didn't give a damn about Impact Wrestling until what went down on Dynamite last week. That is okay. We ain't judging over here. But some of the comments that came in so far, and shout out to everybody that was sending the interactions my way. This was via Twitter that I initially posed this question. See, here we go. Where am I? Hang on. There we go. Dirk watched it on Twitch. Okay. He's not giving me an exact time frame when he was checking it out, but that's all right. Jeremy got back into watching it over the summer during quarantine. Wrestle House had me hooked. Been with it since. Yeah, you know what? Wrestle House, there were many weeks that Wrestle House was funny. I would definitely admit that, Jeremy. I think we can all be in agreement, though. The longer Wrestle House went, the more, I'd hate to say not so funny. Maybe the right terminology I can use is it started to lose its magic. We can all be in agreement of that, right? Now, if somebody wants to say, so it wasn't funny, to each its own. But for me, after a couple of weeks, it just started. The thrill is gone. It's gone away. Ed, nope. First time watching in years, and I am loving it. All right now. John, honestly, I haven't seen an Impact show since the Destination America days. How about that? Let me repeat that one more time. Honestly, I haven't seen an Impact show since the Destination America days. Kudos if you remember when Impact was on Destination America. Wasn't that during the period where Austin Aries was suicide for a hot second, cashed in on option C? What wasn't that during the whole Bully Ray freaking aces and eights angle? Wasn't all that during Destination America? You know, it's bounced around on so many networks. And honestly, I think for a lot of these people that left the comments, I see what you guys are saying as well. I think for a lot of people, one of the things as a fan that hurt me as well as a fan, was Impact was just bouncing around so many networks over the years. You're like, okay, wait, they're still around? I thought after they got axed from, that was it, that they were done. But John went on to say, kind of glad they've had guys I recognize in the first two matches. The only one I didn't know was Josh Alexander, and I kind of liked what I saw. All right, so it essentially made a fan out of him, so that's pretty good. 96 Breed saying it's been a long time. NC saying, I watch Impact about 2 or 3 times a year. It never keeps me around. And that's probably the case for most people. It was interesting watching some of the people on my timeline. Some I've followed for a couple of years now, and they never give Impact Wrestling the time or day. And it was just nice watching them, the wrestling fan in them, really coming now out of curiosity, seeing what's going on with the Impact product tonight. Me, I will let it be known, I normally don't watch Impact Wrestling live in real time on Tuesday nights. I normally will check it out Wednesday night or Thursday on the Impact Plus app. That's how I usually go about it, because I have a subscription. So I usually wait until they have the episode available, and then, but the past couple of weeks, not all the episodes have been available promptly. It's been weird, but they cleaned it up, it seems, with the newest update and all that. But, you know, it is what it is. So it's nice seeing everybody was flocking. Look. Let me hit you with some Impact news real quick. And particularly, shout out to anybody that was actually watching the Impact broadcast on Twitch. Because if you don't have Access TV, you're going, well, what the hell? FYI, you can always watch Impact Wrestling for free on Twitch every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. You ain't gotta buy anything. All you gotta do is just, if you want, you can sign up for a Twitch account. It's free. Only takes a couple of seconds, and boom, you're able to watch it. So for me, what was interesting, and I need somebody that was watching the Twitch Impact stream to let me know what the final number was. But normally on the Twitch Impact stream, I know this from personal experience, because I'm one of a few people that actually hosts Impact Wrestling's channel on my Twitch channel. So randomly, if you go on my Twitch channel, it'll normally have something Impact Wrestling related playing. And from what I usually see on Impact's channel, I can't speak on when Impact Wrestling is on, except for like months and months prior, but normally they would average a couple of thousand. They would average a couple of thousand live viewers. And once Impact is over, they usually dip down into the hundreds. You know, lowest that I've seen in like recent weeks, lowest I've seen is maybe 147 views on something. Tonight, good strong ass numbers. At one point, I saw it peak to about 43K. 43K. That's pretty damn good. If anybody was watching the Twitch stream and they went past 43K, let me know, because I definitely want to give some mad props. We'll talk a lot more about Kenny Omega and all that. I gotta tease you guys. I gotta tease you guys a little bit, but let's talk about some of the action that went down on tonight's Impact Wrestling. I want to get you guys' thoughts on the Impact product as well. So keep the interactions coming, as I am seeing what you guys are saying. Doesn't matter how you're tuning in. I see what you guys are saying from whatever the outlet is. So tonight, we had things kick off with Josh Matthews saying to us that, and I love how they did this too, as far as the interview with Kenny Omega and Don Callis goes. So the guys were on this nice personalized tour bus, if you will, and it was parked right out front of the Impact Studios. And Josh let us know at some point during the night, he's going to get an opportunity to go on the bus and he's going to have a sit-down interview with Don Callis and the new AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega. All right, so they're dangling this. And I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, you're going, okay, no reason to blow the load in the first 30 minutes. There's no reason to blow the load after the first hour. Milk this SOB for all it's worth. Milk it until you get to the last 7 to 10 minutes of tonight's Impact. That's how you got to do it. Sure enough, that's exactly how they got to do it. Loved it. Impact Wrestling, loved it. That's how you freaking do it. One thing I had pointed out on last week's Impact Showdown, I said, man, I hope the hokey dokey stuff, who shot Johnny Bravo, and hopefully they kind of go back to the chopping block a little bit, and maybe they can kind of splice some stuff out and try to let it be a little bit more of a serious tone, if you will. Just let it be about good quality stuff, because this is a night you want to make a really good first impression, because Lord knows you're getting a good group of AEW fans. A lot of them probably haven't checked out the Impact product before. Maybe it's been several years, but you're getting some new eyes. First impressions mean everything. Let's make sure that it's off and popping. And I gotta say, overall for the show tonight, it was actually pretty good. We did get a little bit of a mention there of the Johnny Bravo story arc. Yeah, I kind of just went, do we have to go there? Do we have to go down this path? Couldn't we skip it until next week? But I like the little subtle touch that they did. I like the subtle touch that they put into it. It was all right. First matchup of the evening, Josh Alexander from the North taking on Chris Sabin. Good match with these boys. Good match to start off the show, quite honestly. And I think to the point that a lot of people, based off the comments I was reading so far, hey, there's a couple of faces I had recognized as soon as I had tuned in, blah, 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 blah. All right, so one of the first things you see is Chris Sabin. All right, hey, that's one of the Motor City Machine Guns. Hey, okay, cool. North, surely at some point you probably seen some of their work on the independents prior to coming to Impact Wrestling and all that. All right, so nice. It was a good match to kick things off. Especially from a technical standpoint. If you're a sucker for technical matches and all that, from a technical aspect, you definitely had got it in this matchup. It was coming more so from Alexander. Sabin was handling his own as well. What I really want to home in on, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but after the match was over, we saw the North kind of looking at each other, kind of not really beating themselves up, but almost kind of trying to point the finger, who to blame for the fact that Chris Sabin had picked up the W. As you could just feel whatever air was in the lungs of the North, it just got sucked right out. And these guys are looking at each other so frustrated. I couldn't help but look at that and say to myself, What's going on here? Are we painting a picture where possibly, we may end up seeing Ethan Page? Fuck this. I'm done with the North. I want to just fly solo. I'm better. I'm more than a tag team guy. I'm so much more than that. Dude, you're dead weight. Is that possibly one direction that we're seeing? that's being teased a little bit. You know, we got to make sure for clarity purposes, in case you all don't know, Ethan Page's contract status, you know, it's still kind of up in the air, at least what's being reported. And, you know, you kind of always want to take what you hear there with a grain of salt until you hear from the horse's mouth otherwise. But that's some of the things that you got to think about when you're looking at what's happening right now. Hell, for all we know, maybe that angle of Ethan Page saying I'm better than this, you know, maybe we might see Ethan Page just really pull the ultimate prima donna and just quit on his tag team partner and just walk out. And that's the story arc. That's where it stays until hopefully things can get maybe smoothed out, if it hasn't already been smoothed out as far as his contract status with Impact. That is, again, if the reports are true. So kind of have that going in the back of your mind from here on now when you're checking out the next batch of episodes from Impact. All right. From there, we get us a backstage segment. Moose chatting it up with Chris Bay. They're talking about strategy because later on this very night, these two have to team up in a tag match to take on the team of Rich Swann and Willie Mack. And by the way, I can't stress it enough. Last week's Impact Wrestling, I gave that such high marks too. Go back and check out last week's Impact Showdown. It's available wherever you get your podcast. I love the fact that you had 4 of my favorite athletes in Impact Wrestling that closed out last week's Impact. And they all just happen to be brothers. Not to let it be about race, but they all just happen to be brothers. Everybody that I actually fuck with. You had Willie Mack, who was in action, and he was taking on Chris Bay. And I won't give the spoilers or anything like that in case you didn't check out last week's episode of Impact. But pretty much after the match was over, Moose just came out of nowhere, speared the shit out of Willie Mack. And then Rich Swann comes in for the save. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And then just when, all right, it's over. All right, cool. Fade to black. Nah, Chris Bay, he wants him a piece of Rich Swann. So he lays out Rich Swann. And the last burning image you got is Chris Bay holding the Impact World Championship up high. And you're like, oh, I'm telling you, what you might have seen tonight with those 4 guys in tag team action against each other on tonight's Impact Wrestling, it really doesn't do justice of what they did last week and just honestly what they've been doing in the weeks prior. The future is very, very bright for Impact Wrestling with those particular stars, especially Moose. I am still a very big fan of Karrion Kross, and as you longtime Impact Wrestling fans know, once upon a time, Karrion Kross, known as Killer Kross, his talents were down there at Impact, no more. But Moose is somebody I've been eyeing a lot longer than Killer Kross / Karrion Kross. He is somebody I have said, bank on this dude. This is your future world heavyweight champion. Whether that be an Impact or it's going to be elsewhere, bank on it. That guy is money. And hopefully for you newer fans that ended up checking out Impact tonight, hopefully you kind of picked up those same impressions when you were seeing that tag match. See, another matchup. Oh, this is my favorite part of the show. So once Moose and Chris Bay were done talking strategy and all of that, we get, and there was a nice little subtle mention there of final resolution between the 2 guys. And the talk basically was, I think Bay said to Moose, hey, you know, I may just end up being the new world heavyweight champion after final resolution. And at that point, Moose is basically, well, talk to you after this Saturday then, and we'll see what happens. Now, here's where it gets really cool, and I love this. Just from a creative standpoint, I don't know whose idea this was. I would like to hear a lot more of it, how it all came together. But we get a paid advertisement from All Elite Wrestling with Tony Schiavone and Tony Khan. And I gotta be honest with you all, because I would be lit on fire if I did not say this. Part of our show creed motto is keeping it honest, keeping it insightful, keeping it interactive. All right, look, whenever I offer criticism, be it of a product, of a performer, it's never personal. Never personal. It's just constructive criticism. But these two guys popped up in this paid advertisement, and I guess, hey, if that's what they meant, if this is how they wanted it to come off, okay, I'm down with that, right? But these guys came off looking like two of the biggest freaking cheesy dorks I've ever seen in my life. But the delivery of this paid advertisement was hilarious. Now, hopefully, this does not get me in trouble, because I'm just using this as far as fair use, and I'm not monetizing this episode. So hopefully I won't, my message to AEW and Impact, if you got a problem with me showing this, please just send me a private message. I'll edit this out, no problem. But this was a hilarious paid advertisement. I want to show it to you guys right now. So for those of you that missed this, let's go ahead and let's load this up for you guys. This was freaking hilarious.
The following announcement is paid for by All Elite Wrestling, home of AEW Dynamite, last week's #1 cable program. Here's the owner of AEW, Tony Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Schiavone. Hey, Impact Wrestling. It's great to be here tonight via this paid ad that's allowed me to join you. I understand the brand new AEW World Champion Kenny Omega is going to be here on this show tonight, so I thought I would join him. If I wanted to stop it, Tony, I absolutely could.
Yes, I know that.
I could file an injunction. I could tell Kenny he's in breach of contract, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I thought I would actually help fund the show via this ad, because I think it's going to help. It's going to help the budget. It's going to help the bottom line. And hopefully it helps promote AEW to have our champion on this show. The only thing I don't like about it is the way Kenny won the belt. It was a joke. It was disgraceful.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. Jon Moxley, the greatest champion in wrestling, he didn't deserve that. But let me tell you something. Don Callis, you're welcome to come with Kenny tomorrow, too. In fact, Kenny, I know how you're arriving at the show. I handled it. Set up your arrival. We're more than happy to accommodate you. We're just really looking forward to seeing you, buddy. Tomorrow night, AEW Dynamite. Tune in. We got a real big card with big main events, like Orange Cassidy versus MJF for the Dynamite Diamond, and Lance Archer and the Lucha Brothers versus Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, and the Blade. And I understand they have some tag teams here in Impact Wrestling, Tony.
I've heard that.
I've heard they have some. Well, you're going to see the greatest tag team in the World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, taking on Jack Evans and Angelico, TH2, tomorrow night. The Young Bucks are the best. And let me tell you something, Tony. Some of these teams around here, maybe I'll come check them out. In fact, I have some investments in Nashville, Tony.
Yeah?
Yeah. There's some rumors that I might even buy Impact Wrestling. You spent a cup of coffee in Impact Wrestling yourself, didn't you, Tony?
Yeah, one night, and then I quit the business for 18 years.
2002. Well, I'm glad I brought you back, Tony. It was my pleasure. I'm thrilled to have you. I love you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks. He's the best. And let me tell you something. Tomorrow night on Dynamite, you're going to see this guy, Tony Schiavone, talk to Sting. How long's it been since you talked to Sting?
25 years. Yeah, absolutely.
25.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Well, let me tell you something. It's going to be a great time. And Kenny, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I can't wait to see what you have to say tonight. And Don, like I said, you're welcome to stop by yourself. See you guys tomorrow.
Oh my god. That was like the most hilarious. I'm telling you, man, as far as funniest moments in 2020, I gotta give it up to that. That was pure freaking gold right there. The line of that whole segment, though, weren't you in TNA for a hot cup of coffee? And Tony's like, yeah, I was there for one night and then I was retired for 18 years. That was... that was the line of the night. I guess now it's maybe you could make the argument, because I don't know if you AEW fans have been noticing it, but Tony Khan's name has been dropped like a mofo in recent months. It used to be a time when it was just AEW management, the powers that be in AEW, and then all of a sudden, Tony Khan. And you're just like, damn, why are we dropping this man's name so much? And You know, I don't know if, see, now I'm kind of happy that the man's name has been dropped so much, because now you get that paid advertisement. You're like, hey, who the hell is that? And you're like, oh, that's the guy that's pretty much running everything. And it's like, oh. But then if you're that newer fan and, just imagine this. Just imagine if you're the Impact Wrestling fan and you've yet to watch AEW and you're going, who's this kid that just like rolled out of the bed with his crazy frizzy freaking hair? And, he looks like he might give me a hard time over a parking spot. Like, who is this guy? And you find out, that's the guy that pretty much runs the whole shebang. He signs the checks and all that. You're like, wait, huh? That guy? Like, seriously? Like, really? Yeah, that's Tony Khan, ladies and gentlemen. Very laid back dude, that he is. Look, everybody's got their criticism of Tony Khan. Some people feel me personally, the only time I have a problem with Tony Khan, full disclosure, the only time I have a problem with Tony Khan is when he comes off more like, what's the right word I want to use? He doesn't come off more managerial. You understand what I'm saying? He doesn't come off more like a boss. To the point, you see what had went down on last Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, just to touch upon it briefly. And when Don Callis and Omega are running backstage, you see Tony Khan and he looks like he's smiling. And, you don't know what the hell he's saying to him, but he looks like he's smiling. It's like, nah, man, we just saw like some type of a big old screw job go down. You don't need to come off looking like you're smiling right now. You need to look like you're in a hot pile of steamy, pissed off garbage. Like, you need to look like your head just blew off your freaking shoulders. And that's kind of been my issue. I wish that instead of looking like my friend TJ, all he can do all day is play Gears of War. I wish that out of all the people that I'm seeing in AEW, oh, hey, that's Tony Khan, because he's the only guy that'll wear a suit, or, he's the only guy that looks, rather than just kind of in the background with his Kurt Cobain thingamajigga thing going on or whatever. But despite all of that, dude, that paid advertisement spot, that was golden. Hey, y'all gotta admit, it came off a little bit darkish, came off a little bit cheesy, but you know what, man? Somehow it just flowed so well, and it ended up being memorable for all the right reasons. Loved it. Good shit right there. Let's see. So next up, Brian Myers taking on TJP. Again, Brian Myers taking on TJP. I told you guys on last week's Impact Showdown, I had a problem with how this match had came together, because initially we saw TJP trying to hype up Crazy Steve, because remember that stipulation when TJP had last faced Rohit Raju for the X Division Championship. If TJP did not win his respected match against Rohit for that X Division Championship, okay, so if he didn't become the new X Division Champion, then that's it. So as long as Rohit Raju carries that X Division Champion, so as long as he's the champion, TJP can no longer get any more X Division title shots. Again, so as long as Rohit is holding on to that title. So TJP, he kind of got a little bit influenced by Scott D'Amore, and okay, well, my opportunities might be done, but if I can maybe somehow convince somebody else to challenge Rohit and they can become the X Division champion, okay, well then my path to that title opens back up. So one of the people that TJP tried speaking to was Crazy Steve. Crazy Steve eventually challenges Rohit, and the outcome of that, Rohit is still the champion. So last week, again, I'm setting this up properly so you guys that were watching it for the first time, so you guys have the context. So TJP, Crazy Steve, last week, they're chatting it up backstage. Well, that didn't work out like we thought it would. Yeah. Brian Myers comes in, And he's chewing into both guys about how their plan backfired. And what I was expecting at that point was for TJP to challenge Brian Myers to put them in their place and show them how it's done and go challenge Rohit. Go do the Rohit challenge. Take him on for the X Division title and show them how it's done. Put up or shut up. But that's not the direction that we went. Instead, we got this instant Acme feud. And that's how we got Brian Myers taking on TJP for this week. Nonetheless, solid matchup. Myers needed the win. I personally felt. I mean, come on, look, this is a guy, one of the last times we saw was feuding with Swoggle. Look, I got no problem with Swoggle. Make that money, man. Make that money. Get that 15 minutes. Make that money. You got kids. You got bills to pay. I ain't hating the hustle, okay? Man, look. Lord knows, any one of us that's happens to be as tall as Swoggle, and if we can get a nice payday, man, we gonna do what we gotta do. But for me personally, trying to wrap my brain around this whole Brian Myers, the professional wrestler and all that, it's been off to a bad rocky start. It honestly has. So for me personally, he needed this win. He did. I have no issue with the result whatsoever. Other than that, a little bit of a questionable ending. You can kind of say the ending to the match was a little bit of a head scratcher. But good match. Good. My hat's off to both men. Hats off to both of you guys. Good matchup. No problem with them. Coney Diener seen backstage talking with cousin Jake. So, Cody Deaner, I gotta make sure I set this up properly for you guys. Cody Deaner, he did not like the fact that he was violated in such an improper way last week by Eric Young. And Eric Young's boy, oh God, what's his boy's name? Joe, is it Joe Darren or something like that? Joe Doring. He didn't like the fact that he got massacred by both of those guys. So he wanted to extract some revenge. And it was kind of interesting because, you know, you see this mean, serious demeanor come from Cody. And you're saying, oh, okay, so now all of a sudden I'm supposed to take you seriously? Like every single time I see you on my TV. Woo-wee! Yeah, like every single time. And now all of a sudden, because somebody essentially hurt your man pride, I'm supposed to take you as a serious competitor. I'm sorry. Maybe I could be a little bit more invested into that if maybe you weren't on my TV for a couple of months. Not his fault. It's not the Diener's fault whatsoever. I do have a little bone to pick with Impact Creative on that standpoint. And honestly, I've said my piece with that one. So, I mean, as we would expect, this match was rather short, about less than 3 minutes, might have even been 2 minutes. Eric Young coming out of that with the W. Look, this was honestly a squash match. Young came into that joint looking pretty strong. Cody looked like an underdog, and rightfully so. Is all I gotta say. So now my question is, what happens afterwards? Because after the match, Joe Doring, Eric Young, they're beating the crap out of Cody and Jake. But then who comes for the freaking rescue? Rhino. Rhino comes in for the rescue. He's got a pipe in his hand. Young and Doring, they bail. Doring, though, he wanted a piece of Rhino bad, but EY was holding him back. Now, for those of you, again, kind of got to make sure we're getting the fans that haven't checked out Impact in a good minute up to speed. One of the last times we saw Rhino, Eric Young, and Joe Doring beat the holy crap. I think it might have been about 3 weeks ago, give or take. They beat the holy crap out of Rhino, and they beat the crap out of Heath Slater. So we haven't seen Heath since the beatdown that he was getting. And remember the storyline, Heath actually wasn't 100%. He won. I can't remember what pay-per-view it was. Rhino actually, I think, won it for them. Heath was awarded an Impact Wrestling contract because the story arc that he had going on for the longest time, he didn't have an Impact contract. And you had this one match, I think it might have went down at Bound for Glory, if I'm not mistaken. And the stipulation was that if Rhino or Heath Slater were to win some battle gauntlet, then Slater would win his Impact Wrestling contract. However, if Slater or Rhino, if neither men won, then no more opportunities for Heath to get a contract, and Rhino would have been fired on the spot. Now, Rhino won it. You go to that contract, Heath still hasn't signed the contract because Scott D'Amore noticed Heath wasn't quite 100% physically. And so he said to him, go get your rehab, work out all those kinks, take care of yourself. We'll pay for it. We'll pay for your rehab. I want you at 100% though when you get ready to sign this contract because I want you ready to go. I'm going to be working you. So go rest up, do what you got to do. See you when you're okay. So Heath, we haven't seen him since. So Rhino, I know it probably seemed a little bit random to some of you guys. Why the hell? Now you understand why Rhino was out there. Rhino basically trying to extract a little bit of revenge there. All right. Meanwhile, Johnny Bravo. I was hoping we didn't get this, the Who Shot Johnny Bravo, but we got the continuation. Johnny Bravo, he's yelling at Tommy Dreamer about Lawrence D being the guy that shot him. And I can't believe I have to talk about this. I'm going to try to blaze through this as quickly as possible. But Dreamer ends up having a conversation with Lawrence D. And one of the most weirdest stipulations gets put out there. Larry wants a match with Dreamer at Final Resolution with his freedom on the line. You heard me right, with his freedom on the line. So basically, and to quote Lawrence D, because Dreamer actually accepted this, just the storyline, of all the things to agree upon, I can't believe I'm about to make this joke, but I'm going to make this joke. I'm going to fucking go there. I don't care who I piss off. Somewhere, O.J. Simpson has to be saying, well, damn, if I knew it would be this easy, I'd have seen if maybe I could get a kind of match like that with that stipulation. To my point, after Dreamer agrees to this match, Lawrence D says, and I quote, "You mean to tell me I can win my freedom from attempted murder in a wrestling match?" Moving right along. That's all I gotta say. Where do you go from there, folks? Seriously. Knockouts Tag Team Title Tournament match. Kimber Lee and Deonna Purrazzo taking on Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. Quick sidebar, and this particularly goes out to the veteran Impact Wrestling watchers. I still don't see a definitive answer that will make me go, okay, that makes sense. Can somebody please explain to me Deonna Purrazzo's gimmick? What is it with... I'm not being a smartass. I'm just trying to understand this virtuoso gimmick. What is so virtuoso? I don't get it. Of all the gimmicks in Impact Wrestling, that's the one gimmick that I'm scratching my head and I still don't get for the love of me. Somebody tried to help me out. I think it was Dirk. I'm guessing the way she wrestles is so smooth that she's a virtuoso on the mat. Y'all agree with that assessment, or you got a different take that you can expand upon? Let me know, because I'm really trying to get behind this, because every time I'm looking at this girl, I'm still thinking Tessa Blanchard 2.0. I am. I just am. Not a knock to her, but I'm looking at Tessa Blanchard 2.0, or Tessa Blanchard Light. Good in the ring, no doubt about that. I need more personality though. You know, I need more banging personality to really come out. It's just so kind of generic right now. So I'm really trying to understand what this whole virtuoso thing is about, because whatever you guys tell me, I'm just picturing in my mind, well, if it's like that, why can't we amplify it times 10 then? Why can't we get it popping and cranking? But I'm bringing her up for a reason. Again, we have the Knockouts Tag Team title tournament match. Kimberly, Deonna Purrazzo taking on Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary. Pretty damn good tag team match. Decent tag match between all of these girls. Pretty standard. Good double action towards the end of the match there. And I gotta tell you, as far as who might be able to win this tournament, I don't know. I'm kind of coming around on Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. They went at it for about maybe 5 minutes, give or take, the tag match altogether. Yeah, I'm looking at the current bracket here, by the way. The current bracket. Bear with me a second. Let me get my screenshot, and I can tell you guys how the bracket is looking. Hopefully I took a picture of the bracket. Bear with me a second here. I believe I got the bracket. No, it doesn't look like I have the bracket. Let me see if I can maybe pull up an old bracket real quick. Bear with me 1 second, guys. And hopefully I can pull up a older bracket. Otherwise, I'm going to need somebody's help. You know what? Here we go. I got it. All right, so looking at the current bracket for the Knockouts tournament. So it looks like Havoc and Nevaeh, they're going to be facing... Actually, hang on. No, they got, no. So they're good. So Havoc and Nevaeh, it looks like they are going to be facing... No, they're waiting for... No, it looks like Havoc and Nevaeh, if I'm reading this right, I'll have to rely on you guys. If I'm reading this right, it looks like Havoc and Nevaeh are going to be facing the team of Jordynne Grace and Jazz. And then whoever wins that, it looks like will go into the semifinals, it looks like. And then from there, I am seeing Taya and Rosemary. Looks like they advanced. So it looks like they are going to be facing... Looks like Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz for your semifinals. Okay, that's how it's looking right now. So once again, Havoc and Nevaeh, they're going to be facing the team of Jordynne Grace and Jazz. Meanwhile, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, they're going to be facing the team of Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. Yeah, man, for me personally, as far as who I think is probably going to win it all, just based on everything I've seen so far, I would like to believe Jordynne Grace and Jazz, they're going to go all the way to the finals. Now, as far as who's going to be facing them at the end, I personally would like to see... the team of Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. I've been loving those girls' work tremendously for the past several months. You know, I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get a cameo from those girls tonight. If they did pop up, I don't know anything about it. But they are two of the most charismatic women that are on that Knockouts roster for Impact. Fucking solid. Great fucking work from those two girls. Kiera Hogan, though, I mean, just personality alone, really blossom. You talk about somebody that's really done a great job coming out of their shell more, building up more of a personality. I tell you, teaming up with Tasha Steelz has done wonders for her. Let's keep rocking and rolling. How you guys doing? You guys enjoying the show so far? If you are, make sure, if you haven't done so, hit that like, hit the subscribe. Saw we picked up a couple of followers since we've been on the air here. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Ferlandis Jones. Shout out to Mike Money. Who else we got here? Who else we got here? I thought I saw a couple of more people here. Yeah, there's a couple of more. I'll get into some more shout outs later. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling. Sammy Callahan took to the ring next, having his favorite greatest hits moments, showing all the brutality he's done to Eddie Edwards over the years. Led to him challenging Eddie Edwards for one more match. And as we all know, Alicia Edwards, Eddie's wife, she's been pretty pissed off at Sammy Callahan within recent weeks. She's been trying to do her damnedest to get her hands on him because she wants to legitimately kick his ass. And we actually saw her come out. Sammy Callahan saying to Alicia, look, unlike Eric Young, I promise you, if you step 1 foot in here, I will break your damn neck. Little did he know, Alicia was just playing decoy as Eddie Edwards jumped him from behind, managed to grab Eddie Edwards' bat and was about to go back crazy on him. Sammy Callahan escaped just in the nick of time. Backstage segment, we catch up with Eddie Edwards and Alicia. And for you guys that might have not really caught what was going on, you might have heard Eddie Edwards say, I'm back, I'm back. At one point, Eddie Edwards, he kind of had, if you ever saw the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, remember how Tom Hanks, his best friend when he was on the island was Wilson, the freaking volleyball or whatever? Well, at one point, Eddie Edwards was in storyline so bat crazy, he befriended this kendo stick and he named it Kenny. It had a smiley face and all kinds of, and he just was going hardcore. That's the biggest takeaway that I remember during that period of Eddie, was he was just freaking hardcore. I mean, every time you turn around, I mean, he was having, and it was some really damn good hardcore matches. I will give it up. He was having some damn good hardcore matches. So you might have seen him with that bat, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. So now you kind of understand what was going on with that. But Alicia says to her husband there, hey, look, I've helped you with your problem. Now you got to help me with my problem. Now that brings an interesting question. Just what exactly is this problem that Alicia has? I wonder if it might involve Caleb with a K. Because earlier in the night, right before Alicia had confronted Sammy, Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K, they actually came across her backstage and they were trying to talk game plan, whatever was going to benefit Tennille Dashwood, honestly, because all she cares about is her own brand. We get that. But Alicia wasn't really showing interest. And they pretty much carried her, and she's like, I ain't got time for you guys. I'm done. I don't want to have anything to do with you guys. Blah 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 blah. So I wonder, as far as extracting some type of, oh, you want to try to carry me, huh? Because they kind of came right back at her tonight. No, we're done with you. We don't need this anymore. So unless she's trying to have Eddie do something to Caleb. Yeah, I'm a little bit on the fence about what exactly she needs for him to do. I'm very curious what this favor entails. More on that to come. Other than that, hey man, we're about to get to that main attraction of the night about Kenny Omega. Main event match, Chris Bay and Moose taking on Rich Swann, Willie Mack. Good stuff. Good stuff. One gripe that I have with regards to this though. One gripe. Why is it that anytime there's some type of a tag match, there's some type of a triple threat, maybe there's some type of a fatal four-way, or there's some type of an elimination, why is it Willie Mack is always eating the pin? I don't know if anybody else has been noticing that, but it just seems to me that's, if I'm noticing it, it's like, okay, well, who else is noticing it? Is my question. But a good main event match nonetheless. And I like the fact that the way the match was booked, Impact Management managed to continue to do a good job in building up Bay, building him up strong, that is, for the showdown there at Final Resolution. And the fact that you got Swan, Moose, you know, kind of balancing, making the whole hostile environment. It's good. A whole lot of good dynamics that was going on with that main event match. So, I mean, it's so multi-layered in a good way that you could take out of that, you know, good stuff right there. But we got to do more with my man Willie Mack. We can't always be having him, or we can't have it be Chris Beck, or we can't, you know, honestly, I would have settled for a freaking DQ. Honestly, I'd have settled for a freaking DQ. It is what it is. All right, main event of the night, the main attraction of the night, Josh Matthews sitting down with Kenny Omega and Don Callis. By the way, did anybody else kind of feel... I can't believe I'm making a joke out of this. But did anybody feel kind of sorry for Rich Swann? I guess Rich Swann was maybe under the impression he was going to be able to have a little chat with the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, or maybe he was just trying to exit the damn warehouse or studios because he was done for the night. But, you know, you get this weird Jack Black looking security guard. Sorry, you can't go past. It's only for the World Heavyweight Champion. And Rich Swann is like, oh, but that's me. I am the World Heavyweight Champion. He's like, nah, not that World Heavyweight Champion. No. Oh, are you talking about Moose in the TNA World Championship? No, not talking about Moose either. And you see Josh Matthews, and the guy cuts him off. You know, sorry, you're not allowed. He's like, oh, but I have an interview with Don Callis and Kenny Omega. My name's Josh Matthews. And dude's like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. You know, Rich Swann thinks he can. He's like, no, sorry, you can't go. No, sorry. AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, you know, only. Like, he just felt bad for Rich Swann, you know. What a nice way of just kind of, you know. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna touch it, but I'll put it to you this way. One of my all-time favorite Law and Order episodes, the Law and Order, the series that started it all, Law and Order. The late Gregory Hines did an episode where he was a lawyer. And there was a powerful scene that he had when he was offering his opening statement on behalf of his client. And he basically said, you know, I want to tell you guys a story. Me and my friend, who's white, you know, we've been friends for years. We both practice law, you know, he's a lawyer just like I am. One day, we both had stopped at this truck for a bite to eat. And there was only one Danish left. And boy, I love Danishes. I wanted that Danish. My friend wanted the Danish too. The guy at the food truck gave my friend that Danish. Now, I could have allowed myself to get very upset. And in all honesty, I actually was upset. I went to the finest schools for my education. I'm wearing $300 suits. I get my stuff dry cleaned. I've got the nicest apartment in downtown Manhattan. I get to eat out at nice restaurants every day if I want to. But when it counts the most, and all I want is a Danish. Boy, I tell you, the color of my skin. And I just couldn't help but look at Rich Swann and just, I tell you, he gets no respect. Fucking Rodney Dangerfield. I just felt bad for Rich Swann, man. I felt that bad for him that I was thinking of that Gregory Hines joint. I don't know if you guys were kind of going in that route as well, but hey, if I'm alone on that one, hey, I got the cricket sound. I got it played up. If I was the only one that was, I'll gladly take the crickets. But Josh Matthews finally sitting down with Kenny Omega, Don Callis. Man, they made freaking Josh. I've never seen Josh Matthews rip so hard before in my life. Called him one of those Connecticut boys. Oh my God, called him a worm. I mean, they were really chewing his ass out good. They had him sitting there reading. Not reading, but they had him sitting there and they had him watch as Don Callis removed the Moxley plates from the AEW title while they inserted for the very first time the Omega plates. So that was pretty badass. Don Callis talked about how not once but twice history has been changed. You know, and he goes with the whole notion, hey, you know, they say some people can only change history once. You know, nobody can do it twice. Well, as far as Don Callis is concerned, he begs to differ, because what they did, many were describing as the golden screw job, the biggest screw job in wrestling since Montreal. But Callis went on record saying, nah, you know what? I get where people are coming from, but I don't see it that way. And he sees it as far as setting the course of history right. Because now we as wrestling fans, we as in the entire wrestling industry, now we have what we should have always been given, essentially, which is, you know, a new AEW World Champion in Kenny Omega, talking about how he and Kenny, they did it together, and that's what makes this very special. And then he started going down memory lane as far as, okay, you know, you want to know when we started putting the screws to this? You know, some people think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, a month ago. No. This goes as far back as 27 years. Don Callis bringing up the fact that one of the people that had a hand in training him was the Sheik. He talked about how he met the Sheik's nephew, a young curly-haired Kenny Omega, when he was like 7 years old or whatever. And just as the Sheik always looked out for Don Callis, Don took it upon himself as he got older, take Kenny Omega under his wing, you know, look out for him and everything. And man, you want to talk about a serious burn, man. I mean, Callis freaking wit there. Callis, you thought I got involved in pro wrestling just so I could be, you know, just so I could be a commentator with New Japan Pro Wrestling? You thought I did everything that I did just so I could be a commentator, you know, here with you, Josh? Like seriously? You thought that's why I did everything that, like, no, I did everything with intent, you know, with Omega in mind. Brought up the fact that 3 years ago, Callis was the one responsible for the Omega Jericho match. You know, once again, hands, hey, when Omega became the New Japan Pro Wrestling Champion, Don Callis was right there. Took a massive shit on Tony Khan. Hey, Tony Khan opened his home to me. Hey, come on over to AEW. Did it not once, but twice. And boy, the second time, did Tony Khan and crew pretty much pay for it. Josh Matthews brings up a very interesting question to Kenny Omega, which is, what the fuck was up with the Action Comics reference and X-Men? What the hell was the point in that? I'm trying to understand that. Was that Kenny Omega's way of saying he's rich? Yeah, you mean, if that's what it... I get it, if that's the case, but I just didn't understand the whole thing about the comic books thing, because I was kind of lost on that one. Oh yeah, you're this guy. I just gotta hate. I gotta hate your fucking guts because, man, what you did. Oh man, you're such an evil piece of shit. But man, you got Superman's first appearance in Action Comics, number 1. Oh man, like, can I come over to your house and you take it out of your box or safe and just let me look at it? I don't have to touch it, but can I just look at it? Like, that's, you know, it's like, what type of heel, seriously, what type of heel do you know of I hate him. Yeah, but, come on. I got the entire Fatal Attractions where Magneto rips out the fucking adamantium out of Wolverine's body. Oh, and it's signed by Stan Lee. Oh, okay, can I come over and see it? Like, I wasn't quite sure how to feel there about Kenny Omega there. But Josh Matthews, hey, don't you think that with regards to what all you did, the way you won the AEW World Title, don't you think that's tarnished your legacy, perhaps forever? And Kenny Omega admitted he's starting to get pissed off with Josh Matthews and Don Callis. Yeah, he has a way of doing that to people. Don't pay him no mind. Omega said, no, this doesn't hurt my legacy at all. Not one little bit. Of course, the biggest question: why Impact? He says it's because they can. They like to ride and live in style. And he feels like the old him, Omega. He feels like the old Kenny Omega. I guess that's his way of saying he feels like the old Kenny Omega from New Japan. Okay, cool. They also mentioned the Lex Express with the way that they're doing this tour bus thing, teasing, hey, if you like what we did here at tonight's Impact, you're going to love what we got planned for Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. That's as good as a tease as they gave it for the night. But Kenny Omega, Don, they did have a little bit of fun at Josh. Like, what, did you think that I was going to wrestle here tonight? Seriously, you thought I was going to do something like you guys got some good champions and all that. I don't know, maybe I might peep out what you guys are doing next week or whatever. Maybe we might sit in and look at some of these guys on the roster. Who knows? But Omega pretty much teased. Check out AEW Dynamite. See what we got planned. And from there, he did his trademark bid you adieu, goodbye, good night, bang. And that pretty much was it. They left Josh Matthews hanging. Impact Wrestling goes to black. That pretty much was it for the evening. That was Impact in a nutshell. If there's anything critical I had missed during that Kenny Omega thing that you guys want me to touch upon before we roll out, let me know. But that is pretty much it. So interesting, especially given the fact that Tony Khan said in that paid advertisement spot, hey, Don Callis, you're welcome to come to AEW as well. All right, so here we go. Once again, Tony Khan has given Don Callis another invitation. I'm sorry, but if Don's going to do XYZ, as far as I'm concerned, Don Callis is banned from the arena. Don Callis ain't got no business being anywhere near the AEW talent if that's how he's going to be rolling. You feel where I'm coming from? So, you got that aspect. But then you also, this is the beginning of a beautiful relationship between AEW and Impact Wrestling. And I mean that. I sincerely mean that, because there was one thing, and I would be set on fire if I didn't mention this point. At one point in the show, Tommy Dreamer went up to Scott D'Amore and he said, hey, look, I'm really concerned about this whole Don Callis, Kenny Omega thing. I've seen stuff like this happen before, the whole cross promotions and everything, and it always ends up bad. And I just got a bad feeling we're going down a similar path I remember from many, many years ago. Please, I'm telling you. And Scott D'Amore, he's like, nah, man, everybody's loving this. We're ahead on social media. It's giving us buzz. It's getting us attention. We're getting clicks. It's like, man, even Lance Storm likes it. And you know how much of a big old grouch Lance is. Like, nah, go do what you do best. go give a nice, good pep rally to the roster. That's one of the reasons why we brought you here, is because you resonate. You keep the locker room in check. They listen to you and everything. They appreciate you. You're that veteran. Just keep everything nice and smooth with the talent. You're overreacting for no reason. Now, I appreciate your input, but Dreamer's really, like, dude, no, listen, seriously. This is bad, what we're doing here. We really shouldn't have invited this. And look, Don Callis, he's always been looking out for himself. Dreamer's essentially, hey, man, wake up. It's time for you to get woke. So I have a feeling, man, that some interesting shit is about to go down between AEW and Impact. I think there's going to be some serious cross-branding. I wouldn't be surprised if worlds were to collide at a joint pay-per-view event or whatever. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm curious how you guys are looking at it. What matches would you like to see happen between Impact and AEW? Not to also mention, look back to that paid advertisement. Tony Khan and his nice little, I'm just innocent me, but you kind of break it down a little bit. He did kind of take a couple of digs there, as far as the tag division. Well, we got the best tag team in the world, and and look, rightfully so, you should be operating that way because you got your own brand to be promoting and everything like that. But I don't know, man. I mean, hindsight's 2020. My guts are telling me we're getting ready to see something kind of special. I don't need them to rush into this. They just need to continue to take their time, tell this story. I can promise you this isn't going to be something that's going to be drug out for 6 months. I don't see that happening. I see something like 3 months tops. 3 months tops, I see this happening as far as a build-up and all that. But you know what? I'm just going to kick back, and I hope you all are going to do the same as well. Just kick back, enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride. I did kind of touch upon that already, but I'll bring it up one more time. Just kind of nonchalantly, Tony Khan said to Tony Schiavone, hey, they say that, I got stock in Nashville, or he says something to Tony Schiavone along the lines of, I got stock in Nashville. There's reports out there that I may be trying to buy Impact Wrestling. Okay, that's getting people talking. That's the whole point, getting people talking. And there's nothing wrong with getting people talking. Look, I will tell you honestly, in all my years of covering the Impact Wrestling brand, there was a time period where Ed Nordholm and crew, they were interested, very interested at one point in at least doing something with the Impact Wrestling library. And they actually did. You can go back, you can do your own research on this at your own accord, but they tried to see if WWE would be interested. And WWE, their whole thing was, the library looks good. Okay, yeah, sure. We can have some stuff for Sting. We can have some stuff for Samoa Joe. We could have some stuff for insert. But it really wouldn't mean anything unless we have the entire Impact Wrestling promotion. And Ed Nordholm, he told everybody of the Impact roster, management, personnel, look, we're going to do everything in our power to keep this company floating. Now that we've pretty much taken over, it's like we didn't just come on board to take over just to cough up this promotion. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that to you guys. We're pretty much in this for the long haul. Ed Nordholm definitely went into Impact Wrestling when he decided he wanted to own it. He definitely went into it understanding that, okay, what I'm trying to do with Impact, where it could potentially go eventually, it's going to take time, need to continue to have patience. And so if you're an Impact Wrestling fan, it's kind of good how it played out, as Impact as a whole did not fall into the hands of WWE. And then for whatever respected reasons, negotiations had stopped for the Impact library. And then when Impact tried to, see if WWE was still interested, it was just kind of like, no, we're good. Because WWE pretty much was like, no, we want everything. It's like, we just want to give you the library. It's kind of tempting. You put a number out there, and it was kind of like, okay, nah, that's too expensive, especially if you're not going to throw Impact. That's too expensive. So, they did try again. It didn't pan out. So it's kind of good how things played out when it's all said and done. But the idea of doing this storyline, look, I don't think Tony Khan wouldn't say anything like that for nothing, because I always believe that, just because, especially in wrestling, when you hear something and it's like, whoa, that's kind of random. Sometimes a hand may have just been revealed to you from a storytelling standpoint about what could eventually play out, again, in storyline. I mean, there's so many fun directions that this could go. I don't have the answers in one night. You all don't have the answers. The best advice that I can honestly give to you and every single wrestling fan that's out there that's been watching the AEW and Impact Wrestling products so far is kick back. Don't try to figure out what's going to happen. And let me tell you something. Enjoy the ride for what it's worth. You're talking to a wrestling fan that has seen so much, highs, lows, you name it, since the early 1980s. Okay? This is one of the best high points in pro wrestling right now. Contrary to how some people may feel, this is actually one of the best high points in pro wrestling right now, that you get to see this cross branding that's going on. And I'm sure, to follow up on an interview that Triple H gave, just last week or 2 weeks ago, oh yeah, we're open for cross promoting. We just got to make sure that we figure out how we truly would benefit from it, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that there are birdies that are letting Triple H and them know, hey, this is what's going on. This is how they're doing it. I'm sure they're paying attention. And honestly, I hope that at a later date, particularly when they feel very comfortable, and most importantly, when they have the old man's blessing, that they can go ahead and do some type of cross-brand promoting. Look, anything's possible. You want to laugh? Go online. John Cena's dad was involved in a promotion. I think it was his own, the dad's own promotion. And Vince McMahon made a freaking cameo there. I think John Cena was the special referee or something like that. Go check it out. I mean, the fans that were there for that event marked out like a mofo. You want to talk about cross-branding at its finest. As far as like recent memory, you want to have a, wow, can't believe that actually happened. Go back and look at something like that. I truly believe what Triple H is saying as far as, how would we really benefit from it? What's all the pros? How would we navigate this in a way where, everybody's coming out looking strong and everything. But I would say don't try to get so caught up on how does this story end. Let's get to the final chapter. Enjoy the ride for what it's worth, because there's not too many of these that can kind of come off organic and entertaining at the same time and make you feel heavily invested. You feel where I'm coming from? So just enjoy. Don't try to, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking my own advice. I kind of have an idea, but it's, what? I'm excited. Anytime I'm smiling, I'm looking at the TV, I mean, I haven't checked out Impact Wrestling live in real time in months. I always check it out Wednesday night, Thursday night on Impact Plus. So to be able to, one random night on a Tuesday, watch it live with excitement, interacting with new fans that's checking out the Impact product for the first time or checking it out for the first time in years. Great. Freaking great. Want to give a shout out to our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio, video content you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. Shout out to the Patreon members, Gino Morgan, Gino. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to John Davis, Michael Wolf. Did I say Justin Ripstock? Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to my good pal, Tony Bean Gaming. You want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix, tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews. Tony Bing is the man. Check him out. He is the fucking man. I love Tony Bing Gaming. And other than that, your next edition of the RCWR show, that is going to be dropping at this point. Let me look at the calendar here. So Impact Wrestling, they've got their Final Resolution pay-per-view event. That's going to be happening on Saturday. I should be able to check out that pay-per-view event. And by the way, for those of you that's kind of wondering how that card is looking, before I let you all go, let me tell you how that card is shaping up. All right, Final Resolution. I'm looking at the card right now. I got it loading up. Remember, Final Resolution, that's going to be happening December 12th, Skyway Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Right now, I'm only seeing 6 matchups announced during Impact Wrestling's show. Deonna Purrazzo is going to be defending that Knockouts Championship against Rosemary. Larry D will be facing Tommy Dreamer. Remember the stipulation: if Dreamer wins, Larry D goes to jail. If Larry D wins, he walks a free man. Rohit Raju is going to be defending his X Division Championship in another Defeat Rohit challenge. Havoc and Nevaeh take on the Sea Stars, Ashley Vox and Delmi Exo. Tag team matchup. Ethan Page takes on Carl Anderson. Remember the stipulation for that one: if Page wins, then the North will earn a future Impact World Tag Team Championship match. Main event match of the evening: Rich Swann defends his Impact World title against Chris Bay. So that's going to be streaming on Impact Plus. I will be checking it out. I think it's going to come on at 8 p.m. I don't know if I'm going to be coming on live after the event is over. Just depends on how I'm feeling. We'll see. Worst case scenario, if I don't do a live show, I will definitely do an audio joint maybe for our Patreon members, most likely. So do sign up, patreon.com/RCWR show. $5 a month. Get access to a boatload of content. So other than that, if I don't catch you guys this weekend for the Final Resolution post show, your next edition of the RCWR show, that's going to be dropping on Monday, December the 14th. Will be coming on after WWE Raw goes off the air. If you're an Impact Wrestling fan, hey, please show the ultimate support. You could check out Impact Showdown, which is what you were just checking out now. You can check it out weekly. I try to put the show out whenever I get done watching Impact. So typically I try to put a show out at least Thursday night. It just depends when the most recent episode is available on Impact Plus. I usually go by their schedule, but worst case scenario, I always put it out on the weekend. So feel free to show that love, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. And as long as you find the respective feed, that way you'll get those episodes of Impact Showdown, RCWR show, stuff in between, all right? Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR show. Keep the interactions coming. I want to know what you guys had thought about tonight's Impact Wrestling. I want to know when was the last time you watched the Impact brand. If this was your first time tonight, Keep it coming. I want to hear from you guys. As you're making your exit, please hit the like, subscribe, share, retweet. All that helps out tremendously. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords the RCWR Show. Till next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe and, most importantly, be kind to one another. Take care, guys. Peace.